If you would face me, seek me out, and I shall allow it. But heed the zealot's lesson well, when the weak or death may find it.
Hey there, Meergo here, and if you haven't heard, Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming out soon, so now is the perfect time for my Meergospective of the original, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. This is a game that makes it seem like if you've played it, you're part of a club. Anytime Dragon's Dogma is brought up online, people always respond with their favorite quotes, such as, "Wolves hunt in packs." If you haven't joined the Dragon's Dogma Club, but you do like good fantasy RPGs, then you should go out and try this game immediately. To summarize the overall quality, I'd say the graphics and story are suitable, but the gameplay and audio design more than make up for any shortcomings. Dragon's Dogma looks like it came out in 2012, which it did. Weapons and armor are varied and interesting and include everything from chainmail bikinis to clown hats.
Look at the brave.
I brought the guacamole! Locations are impressive, favor exploration, and give an immersive sense of wonder. While playing, you will encounter ancient ruins, thick forests, dark caves, and undead-ridden catacombs. The music is orchestral and epic, pawn chatter is entertaining and helpful, item names are weird, the spell names make no sense, and I think it's great. I'm not exactly sure what a scrag of beast is, but I'm on board if you wanted to cook one. The localization is so immersive that after playing for a few hours, I run around my house telling my wife that the sight of women excites it. Or it bears the head of a... You will encounter many monsters. They vary in design, and more importantly, they are satisfying to fight. You've got goblins, ogres, cyclopes, and even some angry eyeballs. All of the monsters have different weaknesses, and you'll be relying on your pawns to let you know how best to murder something. What is a pawn? They are ageless, emotionless, unpaid mercenaries that have no will of their own. Sometimes called myrmidons in-game and collectively called the Pawn Legion, they reside in the Warp, the Rift, and are tied to an Arisen. When you start the game, you are able to create and customize your own personal pawn who you can equip and level as you choose. I modeled my pawn after my wife and named her Bonkers. If Capcom censors her name, she's also known as Bitey Face. You can also recruit other players' pawns, allowing you to have 3 total companions, your personal pawn and 2 unpaid recruits. Where Dragon's Dogma truly shines is in its combat, and the stars of the show here are the boss fights. While you can hack away at a giant's toenails, it will take forever to kill them by pedicure. Some enemies even have armor on their legs, which makes this less of a valid strategy. Instead, you can climb on top of them to exploit their weaknesses. This is code for stab them in the face. You aren't forced to do this though. Magic and ranged attacks can be used to hit their weaknesses while on foot. Hitting a weak spot or casting the right spells can stagger them and even cause them to fall over where they will be in range of your melee attacks. Some enemies can even be put to sleep. Some enemies can be covered in tar and lit on fire. Some even have multiple parts that act on their own, such as the multi-headed Hydra or the Chimera, which is a lion-goat-snake monstrosity. This is really why the pawn system is better than it seems at face value. Trying out different combinations of companions to mitigate your own weaknesses can be rewarding. Don't let that stop you from going alone though. There are in-game ways of increasing damage done and reducing damage taken while you have no pawns. Having fewer than 3 pawns will also increase the experience you receive, making for a fulfilling solo adventure. I am a huge fan of making the game harder, especially when it offers additional rewards, and this is a mechanic you don't see often enough. In addition to climbing, you can throw barrels, you can throw bandits, and you can even throw the local wildlife. No wonder they hunt in packs. The last thing I'd like to talk about regarding combat are the spells. Holy. These are some of the most powerful spells in any RPG ever. The downside to being able to call down meteors is that the spell takes forever to cast. While you're waiting for it to finish casting, floating helplessly in the air, the ogre will seize the opportunity to drop kick you in the face. In order to do all of this, you have 9 classes to choose from, each offering different playstyles, and you can switch between classes whenever you want. I won't get into each individual class, just know that all of your bases from melee, ranged, and magic are covered, with some classes mixing them. So what's not so good? Well, backtracking is a little ridiculous. Areas are recycled again and again for quest after quest. You can have a quest to liberate a fort that takes you an hour to get to, only to go back to town and receive another quest to escort some dude to the same fort. If it's your first time playing, you'll probably be caught off guard and it can be very frustrating. There is a fast travel system where you place rare port crystals that you can teleport to later, but if you're just starting out, you won't know where you should be putting them down. My advice, if it took you forever to get there, put down a port crystal. In addition to backtracking, one of the most common complaints is that the story stinks. This is a little weird to me. While the story is kind of hard to follow,
him who knows that I know what he seeks to know, knows it well, while he who knows not what I know, or know not.
What? I think it's actually interesting, dark, and mature.
My Lord Edmund, is something...
Meergo does not condone domestic violence. Seriously, this is not okay. And don't worry, this guy gets what he deserves. Here is my 60-second, mostly spoiler-free summary of the story. A dragon comes back and attacks your village. You try to defend your helpless townsfolk, but you end up getting your heart eaten. Somehow you live, making you the chosen one. Then you embark on a 30-hour quest, where you kick a cow, stop evil cults. Wait a minute, your name is what? Battle huge monsters, rescue your loved one, slay the dragon, restore your heart, then jump into a hole. Despite this, you are constantly being thrown into jail by Bozo the guard, who is very clearly not the Arisen, for causing minor inconveniences in town, such as picking someone up.
Over there!
Uh-oh. Or clobbering a child. Meergo does not condone violence against children. There are even multiple endings depending on choices you make towards the end of the game. In the end, you have the opportunity to be a heartless Arisen or be the land's vindicator. Overall, the story is good, the presentation is fine, and honestly, it doesn't matter because the combat is so satisfying. The developers probably figured out that the combat was the best part because the expansion, Dark Arisen, has a completely different story in a completely different location than the original, and focuses almost entirely on fighting new enemies. You can fight death, imprisoned gore cyclopes, and even angrier eyeballs. To rate Dragon's Dogma, I've come up with a scale of Gothic 4, which is a 0, to Dragon Age Origins, which is a 10. On this scale, I'd place Dragon's Dogma here, or give it an 8 out of 10. We live in a time where very little innovation is happening in AAA gaming. Dragon's Dogma was unique in 2012, and it took until 2024 for the formula to be copied, and it's by the sequel. The bottom line is if you enjoy great gameplay, pick up both this and this, because this game will knock your socks off. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video and you would like to support the channel, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.